Alright, so before we get into this, let me get something out of the way. I'm going to be ranking these guns as if you're buying them from Spectre, and that's why there's this little useless tab here, because certain guns you unlock alongside way better versions of that gun. So although Makarov might be a D tier because it's the best level 1 Spectre pistol, and I put the Takarov in useless because you unlock the Takarov alongside the Glock, that doesn't mean that the Takarov is worse than the Makarov. Another disclaimer, I do have variations, so I have like Fin Reaper, and then I have the normal UMP, but I don't have just reskins, so I don't have like the Golden Tooth Deagle or the anime weapons or any of those. All right, starting off with a 22, I think this one's pretty simple. The stats are horrible, the sights are horrible, it's supposed to be really quiet, but you can still hear it from miles away. This thing is definitely useless. You get the Makarov at the same level Spectre, which is just better in every way, has a bigger round, can actually kill somebody. So 22 is useless, and the Makarov is a D tier. At level 2 Spectre, you get the Takarov. This is definitely useless, just like I said earlier. You unlock the 1911 and the Glock at the same level, so why would you ever take a Takarov over any of these two guns? With that, I'm going to put the 1911 at D tier. The magazine size is just too small to make it a viable gun. But the 2011, its variation, I think is a very good pistol. It shoots the same round, but with a massive magazine, a rail under the gun, and it just looks sexy. I mean, just look at that thing. Oh, I would. The Glock's pretty good. I'm going to put that in C. It's not a great pistol. I would definitely take any of the ones following the Glock over the Glock, but it gets the job done, and it is the best naked run weapon. Same as the G34, the John Wick DLC variant of the Glock. Nothing really changes with this variant, unlike with the 2011. Besides, you unlock a bigger mag, but that bigger mag can go into the normal Glock, so there's no point in putting this Glock above the normal Glock. Next is a USP. I'm going to put this in C tier. If you have the 2011 available, they're virtually the same gun, but one's cheaper, and you unlock one way quicker. But if you don't have the 2011 unlocked, I'm going to put it alongside the 2011. But just for now, I'm going to put it in C tier. Next is the 5.7. I'm pretty sure the 5.7 is known for having better penetration with less stopping power. And I don't know if that translates into Tabor, but if it does, I think this goes in B tier. That massive magazine you can get for it is really good, and the round is pretty good. I personally use this pistol when I'm sniping. I think it's a great sidearm for that in specific. Next up is a Deagle. I think the Deagle is an easy A. I mean, it's only like 5,000, and it has crazy damage, and you got the top rail for a sight. I know that they definitely nerfed the Deagle at some point, but it's still just an absolute beast. Pretty sure that's all the pistols that need ranked at least. And next we got the SMGs. I'm going to say the MAT 49 alongside with the Ludi are useless tier. I'm putting the MP40 above the two SMGs because the Ludi has a 17 round mag, and compared to the MAT, I think the MP40 is much more ergonomic. I mean, I have absolutely slayed, and I think this is something I've seen a lot, is that people go hard with this gun. Personally, not my favorite SMG, but I know that it is a good pick. Next up is a Thompson. I think that the Thompson isn't enough of an upgrade to warrant going in C tier compared to the MP40. It shoots a bigger round, and you can put that drum mag in there, but I just honestly don't think it's really that big of a deal to warrant a C tier. Definitely going to put it above the MP40 though. Mac 10, definitely a useless tier. I would take any of the other level 2 Spectre SMGs over the Mac 10. It has its uses. If you are fighting nakeds, it is a naked destroyer, but anything could kill a naked player, and it is really just not viable in a fair gunfight against a equally kitted player. The CX Storm I'm going to put in D tier, above the MP40 but below the Thompson. I think its small magazine size kind of docks it points alongside its massive fire rate. But it got its top rails, it got its bottom rails, you can control it with a nice grip, and in silo, it can be good. And then the MP5 I'm going to put above the MP40, but below the CX Storm. It shoots pretty much just like a Storm, just without the rails and with a bigger magazine. A-gram, gonna have to go below the MP40. Shoots 9x19, but is horrible to hold and kicks like a beast. Now this is an interesting gun, the MPX, because I haven't used this one a lot. If you don't know, this is kind of like the John Wick variant of the MP5. I would say is the closest comparison I'd make. But it's not a huge upgrade like the 1911 to the 2011, but it is still pretty comparable, so I say the MPX is probably top D tier. Now for the PP Bison. This thing can shred. You know, it got that massive magazine size, and you can put a sight rail on it. I would definitely take the PP Bison over an MPX, just for its big magazine. Alright, the MP9, it's pretty much just an A-gram with a stock, a easier to hold grip, and top rails. Personally, I like the MP9, but I know it's not great, so I'm going to put it just above the CX Storm, but below the Thompson. Ooh, now this is an interesting one, the PPSH. Now, a lot of people don't like this gun, and a lot of people really like this gun. And I side with the people that really like this gun. I think this is top C tier. It is a absolute shredder. You look at someone, you hold the trigger, and they turn into minced meat. It's only $4 grand when compared to another quick SMG you unlock at the same level, like the Vector. I mean, the price tag is just so low. It's cheaper than like a Deagle, cheaper than an M4. It's definitely a silo beast. Next up is my personal favorite SMG. This is going top C tier again, the UMP. The UMP shoots a pretty big round at 45 ACP, and it's pretty good in all, implications. You can bring this thing to island and probably do fine with it. Its fire rate is pretty low, so it's controllable, but with that big round, it still can do some damage. I absolutely adore this SMG. So for that, I'm going to put it at top C tier. I know it's not great. It might just be my bias, so it's definitely not going B, but it's still pretty good. Okay, now this one's interesting, the MP7. I don't really know how people feel about this gun. Personally, I don't really like it. I would never take the MP7 into silo over a PPSH, but I definitely think it is a good SMG, especially if you got that drum mag. So I'm going to say it's better than the PP Bison, but not better than the PPSH, just because the PPSH is that cheap and absolute shredder. All right, the Vectors. Now these, I'm not a huge fan of, but I know that they're good. I'm gonna put them in the same tier. They're quick. You can completely trick them out. I'm gonna put it above the MP7, but I would never take these two guns anywhere else than silo, which is why I think the PPSH still beats them out because of how much cheaper the PPSH is and how comparable they are in viability when used in silo. And then the last SMG that you can buy from Spectre, the P90. Now this thing, I don't really like this thing. It doesn't shoot really that big a round. It's pretty hard to control. I think this is I would say that it's equal to the MP7. I can't really put it on the same tier. I'm going to put it above. I'm going to put it above just because it's a better gun. And I have a feeling that more people like the P90 than the MP7. But it's definitely not a great gun, and I will never use this thing. Now this is an interesting one, the Fin Reaper. You can't actually buy this gun. It's just a UMP with bigger magazines and a special grip. It does do a little bit more damage if you go into the wiki secret page for ballistics, but definitely not a big enough increase to make it B tier, so I'm going to put it top of C, the best SMG in the game, in my opinion. And here's where stuff gets a little controversial, the rifle section. People got some hot takes about some of these guns that I don't agree with. We're going to start off with the SKS, instant C tier. It's so cheap, such a big round. It can dominate in silo, and it's still viable in island. It's all around just an amazing gun. I would take it over the Chris Vector, the P90, in most situations. I take that back. I'm going to put this below the Vectors, but still above everything else. It's just such a versatile gun. I mean, that 7.62x39 is so big. The SKS is so cheap. It might not be fully automatic, but if you tap fast enough, you're not going to have to hit someone that many times. So just lay into it, and normally what's in front of you is going to die. Now, I don't have a lot of followers when I say this, but I think the M16 is useless. You unlock it at level 2 Spectre, So you don't get it whenever you have too many weapons available, but I do think the AKM is better. AKM gets that bigger round, 7.62 by 39. You're able to mount a sight on the AKM, so it's already leaps and bounds better than the M16. So I'm definitely putting M16 useless. AKM is definitely going above the SKS. The other level 2 gun that you get would be, let me find it, the AK-74U. Now this thing, I would never buy over an AKM, so I don't know why you'd take it, but I have to say, it's probably better in silo because of that shorter barrel, easier to get around. So maybe, I'm going to put it above the Thompson, but below the MPX. It's kind of like an SMG that just shoots a bigger round. Now this is big controversial territory. L85, useless. Famas, useless. AUG, useless. And the biggest thing that people disagree with me, the Galil is useless. Now remember, this is in the context that you're buying these guns from Spectre. I'm not saying the Galil is a horrible gun. I'm saying that you unlock it when you unlock the Scar. Why would you ever pick a Galil over a Scar? It's just a direct upgrade, which is why I'm putting the Scar in high B tier. And then the M4. I like the Scar more than the M4. The M4 is just a faster Scar, so it's kind of harder to control, but better in close quarters. So I like the Scar more, but the M4 works. Now let me explain these 4 guns down here. The L8, Famas, AUG, and Galil. The only one I'm a little bit hesitant of putting down here is the AUG, because it is unique with that magnifying scope, but you also unlock the ACOG at the same level that you unlock the AUG, and the AUG scope's kind of ass, so I'd always prefer an ACOG on a Scar over a AUG with that shitty sight. All these guns are just firing the same mags and the same rounds as a Scar or the M4, so there's never a reason to take any of these guns because they're just downgraded M4s. And that's where 50% of the viewers click off of this video. I guarantee it. Another gun you get at level 3 would be the AK-74. I would put this in useless because the AKM, in my opinion, is better. But I do know that this is a pretty beloved rifle. And it is good. I just haven't used it enough to find a reason to want it over an AKM. So I'm going to put it top D tier. VSS. VSS is interesting because people really underestimate this gun. If you have the 10 rounders, it's completely useless, but once you get those 20s and even those 30 rounders, it goes from a D tier gun all the way up to a low B tier. It's integrally suppressed and it has a pretty good fire rate, so it's good in those close quarter combat situations. But even at range, you know, it's pretty accurate with single fire, and that round that it shoots can still dish out some pretty good damage. I know people are going to crucify me for putting the VSS over the AKM or the Galil, but this is my tier list, and my gun's better than yours. Anyways, next up, the G3A3. This thing is a beast. I love this gun. G3A3, I would use, honestly, bottom A tier. Bottom A tier. It's so good. It shoots a massive round, and at full auto, it's completely useless. I know. But on single fire at range, it is such a beast. People seem to not really like this gun. I think they just haven't given it much of a chance. And I also think that people play a lot more aggressive than I do. I like to sit back. I'm a sniper most of the time. So maybe it's just a difference in gameplay, a difference in play style. But I love this gun, and it seems like other people hate it. Okay, next up. Oh, this piece of shit. This is just another Galil moment, another L8 moment. Why would you use the SSG? What is it called? SSG 552. I mean, it's more expensive than an M4, but it's just an M4 with less, modularity. And it's at level 4 Spectre instead of level 3, which is what the M4 is at. Why would you ever buy this? I'm going to say this is more useless than the Galil. I'm going to put the Galil at the top of all this. I hadn't really been sorting the useless tier. Yeah, this gun sucks. I don't get it. It doesn't even take snags, but it still shoots 5.56. Shitter gun. Same with the Stoner, yeah. Stoner, useless. You would never buy the Stoner. No one buys the Stoner. People find this gun in the wild, they'll take the mag and they throw it on the ground. That's all this thing is used for. Ooh, Tapco SKS. This one's really good. I love this gun. But I don't know if I love it more than the G3. So they fill similar roles. They're good at long ranges on single fire because the Tapco SKS is a single fire only weapon. I would say they are DMRs. I don't know exactly what the definition of DMR is, but I think these two guns fit that role. I would have to say, because of the huge damage upgrade the G3 has, that the SKS isn't even on the same tier. I think the Tapco SKS is a B tier. The modularity is better than the G3, but that G3 just has so much stopping power. Alright, G36. A lot of people don't like this gun because, same thing I said with the Galil, it's kind of like just an M4, but different. But the G3 isn't a downgrade. I would say it's better than the M4, but is it worth the extra $5,000? Holy shit. No, I don't think it is. So I'm going to put this not in useless because it has its uses. It has that unique 2-round burst, but I'm definitely putting it in C tier. Ooh, AK-5C. People are going to hate me for ranking this gun. It's just another moment of this shoots the same mags, the same round. It's just a different M4. I think this one's more comparable to the Scar, actually, because it has it's pretty slow, and that's why I like it. I like the Scar more than the M4 because it's slower, easier to control, which is why I'm going to put it above the M4, but it can't go above the Scar. The Scar is cheaper and just as good. People love this gun. I don't know why. I think it's because it's new, because people were really hyped for it for a long time. I don't get the hype. I mean, it's just a Scar, but it's green. And green is a shit color, by the way. Green and yellow, worst colors. Ooh, AS Val. Dude, I love the AS Val. So it's just an upgraded VSS that you get later on. The AS Val has a grip rail, which is really good for controlling that fast fire rate. So I'm going to say it's better than... I would put it right below the Tapco SKS. I love this gun. It's such an underrated gun. I think you should try it. After this video, go out and find yourself an AS Val. And if you can't use a VSS, just try it. I think you're underestimating it. Ooh, now we're getting to the big, sexy guns. M1 SAS Instant S tier. It's a G3 with the capability of taking drum magazines and the capability of mounting a grip. The one thing I would say is bad on the M1 SAS is how damn big it is. It can get in the way a lot of the time, but it's definitely a solid S tier. I would say the M1 SAS is probably the best, if not one of the best guns in the game. And then AK Alpha, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is pretty self-explanatory. Definitely not better than the M1 SAS, but it's just an Alpha with tricked out rails and everything. Definitely would take it over any of the guns below here. It's just good in every circumstance, you know, good in close quarters, good at far, shoots a nice round, and you can and it's super modular, so all around just an amazing gun. Alright, now we have the niche guns left. Oh, we still have to rank this. Golden SKS. I'm not really sure. It's not that big of an upgrade from the SKS, because with the normal SKS, you don't need to hit an enemy that many times for them to die. So this super quick fire rate that the golden one gives you isn't really a necessary upgrade. And by the way, this is another boss drop, so you can't buy this gun. It's definitely better than the golden SKS, just because you find it, and it has a grip rail, so you're not really losing anything to get it. But it's not a huge upgrade. I would say it's a pretty high C tier. I would use it over a Fin Reaper or a UMP for close range, but that's all it's good at. Full action rifle. Ooh. Alright, Hunter, useless. Springfield, I'm gonna say it's useless. I think the Springfield round is bigger than the Mosin round, which, by the way, you unlock all 3 of these bolt actions right here at the same level. But the reason I'm putting the Mosin above the Springfield is because the Springfield iron sights are horrible. They are terrible. I would never take this gun over the Mosin. And then the Hunter, same thing, just a worse Mosin. So why would I ever use the Hunter over a Mosin? I'm going to say it is pretty low D tier. It is one of my favorite early wipe guns, but I know that's just my personal feeling about it. AWM, S tier. It's my favorite gun in the game. Shoots a massive round. Is super quiet because with that suppressor, It's a bolt action, so it's the quietest gun in the game when it's suppressed. I mean, why would you use anything else for sniping? It's almost half as expensive as the Barrett, and honestly, the round that this thing shoots is big enough to compare to the Barrett, because most of the time you're going to be one-shotting people center mass, if not making them bleed out later. So I think the AWM is a definite S tier best sniper in the game. And then the semi-automatics, I mean, the Dragunov is pretty shit. I'm gonna put it D tier. I don't know why it feels like people just eat Dragunov rounds and they feel nothing when I use this stupid sniper. And then the Barrett. The Barrett's good. I won't lie. But it's so expensive. Like, I don't think the damage increase warrants $30,000 more compared to the AWM. So I'm gonna say this is somewhere in B tier. Yeah, I think they're just good for it. All right, these are some guns that I like never use. The only LMG currently in the game, the BAR. I'm gonna say this thing is D tier just because it is the only LMG, so it has a use. But I would never buy this weapon. And it's always in my fucking vaults. Like, it's a level 1 gun in the vault all the time. I don't want this gun. I want something that I will actually use, bro. The Saiga and the Benelli. I'm pretty sure the Saiga is just a mag-fed Benelli. I don't think there is a huge difference between the two. I'm going to put Saiga low A tier and Benelli high D tier. And I think that's it. I'm going to leave a link to this tier list in the description if you want to make your own. Go ahead. You don't have to. If you want to roast me for my picks, I mean, go ahead. I know that this tier list is very biased. A lot of these guns I don't use often, like 90% of these SMGs I've only used a few times. So if you want to go ahead and flame me, be my guest. I know a lot of you be hating on that AWM, but whenever you don't even hear my gun fire and you just cut to a black death screen, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Oh, we're totally missing the Mac 11. Mac 11. Alright, Mac 11. This thing, you get it for free. It's a wipe reward. It's just a Mac 10. It's pretty similar to a Mac 10. I think it has a fire rate. I think it has a higher fire rate. Where is the Mac 10? I'm gonna put it above the Mac 10 if I could fucking find it. Oh, it's in useless? Okay, well, you don't actually buy this gun, so I'm gonna put it in D tier. Alright, Mac 11 D tier. That is the entirety of Tabor's guns. If you're watching this and you're a bit of a new player and you don't know what some of these guns do, or you've never even seen some of these guns, let me know in the comments and I might make an in-depth guide to each gun in Tabor and ranking them, not just in a tier list, but in different categories so that you know what certain guns are good for in certain situations, and maybe that'll help you out in the future playing Tabor. But that's it for me, and I will see you losers in the next video if I ever post another one, because I'm so lazy, dude. It took me, like, what, 5 weeks to post this video? But I still love Tabor. I'm a Tabor player, so if you want to see more Tabor content, subscribe, and maybe I'll make some more.